welcome back to my channel for a live reaction and player ratings live stream following Chelsea 5, Chesterfield 1 in the third round of the FA Cup. Weird game. These kind of third round draws against a non-league opposition, that's just weird because you win 5-1 and you're still not like super all over the moon because should we have scored 10? Probably yes. Should we have kept a clean sheet? Definitely yes. Did we do that? No. Did we, for my personal preference, play enough youngsters to also justify not scoring more than 5? No. So, I'm okay. We won the game into the next round. Hey, we move. But I have a few questions about why certain players played and why certain players came on over certain other players. But hey, not too much to complain about, except that we paid £100 million for a player to miss chances against a non-league team. Brilliant. That was fantastic. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined, as you can see, by 3 very, very special guests. Of course, by essentially my co-host, Mr. Clutch. Cheers for coming, as always, Clutch. How'd you feel? Similar to myself, it's like they won 5-1, but it was Chesterfield, so...
Yeah, I do share that feeling. And a lot of the goals, I think, came from just non-league mistakes. Those are mistakes that you shouldn't make if you're up the higher tiers. But you can only play what's in front of you. We did the job. We got some debuts. Lewis Hall was pretty good today. And I'm pretty impressed with that guy. But like you said, there's some questions I have about why we did what we did. But I'm, at the end of the day, not getting paid $1 million to be a manager, and we ended up winning 5-1, so we move.
There you go. It's a fair point. It's a very good point. Pice, obviously, we were talking before the game. We were like, what is this lineup? But in the end, hey, we won 5-1, but still some questions in after the fact as well, or have they kind of cleared themselves up?
Still a few questions, but I mean, like I said, we won 5-1. Some things I would have liked to see differently, but yeah, we won it in the end. That's the most important thing. We're in the hunt for the next round, and yeah, just a couple of frustrations really, but we'll get onto those, I guess.
We will do. And the returning guest who's only been on once before, but VJ, thank you for coming as well. How do you feel? Similar to the other boys, or are you more elated about the fact that we won 5-1?
Thanks for having me, Laurenz. And yeah, I think it's Chesterfield end of the day, but we won. I would have liked to see a lot more improvements from our front three, especially, but then I was disappointed that did not happen, though we scored, we had our moments, but the clinical finishes was something that was missing again in this game, and you cannot afford to do that against Chesterfield, so I'm a bit disappointed with that. But otherwise, of course, with the youngsters, Lewis Hall had a very good game. I was, really satisfied with his performance. All in all, a good performance against Chesterfield, but could have been a lot better if he had it more clinically done.
Oh yeah, 1,000,000%. And Global is a funny guy because he's always here. He's always in the chat. But he does love to throw a good dig. And no, as long as some other guy can't get interviews out of his DNA, I won't get the hate out of his DNA. So, because we all spoke about it, and I told everyone as openly as I could, I don't know how I will feel. He played against Tottenham. I figured out how I felt. I'm not happy. So, still not happy. So here we are. It will change eventually, but it hasn't just yet. Anyway, let's move on. Let me actually, for once, get the lineup up on screen very quickly because that can actually allow us to talk about a few things because bit confused about a few things, not necessarily the lineup itself, but more like trying to figure out what lineup are we actually playing because Lewis Hall, just for people that don't know, is actually a midfielder, but has, played midfield for the under-18s last season. But then this season for the under-21s, or is it under-23s? I'm pretty sure it's the 21s, played pretty much always at left wing back. And now today, he kind of played left centre back of a back three, but it was kind of also just left back because, he literally got an assist. So it kind of all shifted around like a little bit when Callum moved high up the pitch and then Hall was just left back. These two dropped in and then Saul kind of dropped in like this. And then we kind of just had this with kind of like, it was a bit strange. Like if I'm being perfectly honest, what formation it was. But I guess if you'd have to pick one, it's probably a 3-5-2, even though it was a little bit different in the first half. Would you go along with that, Pice, or did you see it differently to myself?
Yeah, I wasn't really noticing the formation too much, to be honest with you. I wasn't like looking as in depth as I was the other day, but it was certainly that back three. Yeah, Yeah, it kind of was that, to be fair. Pulisic, yeah, it seems accurate.
Fair dues. VJ, did you see it that way as well?
Honestly speaking, we had that fluidity to move across, and we did not we did not play in a rigid formation that I can like pinpoint and say, but yeah, it seems to be the case. Pulisic for me was kind of non-existent in this game, to be honest. So I'd say maybe Ziyech a lot more forward and Pulisic a bit.
He was definitely more forward. Just because he was the most right wing back until they switched after about 25 minutes, but we'll get to that. But to start with, obviously Ziyech was higher, but he was kind of still the right wing back, so I have to put him here. Otherwise, no one understands what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he was the widest player on the right side. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
fair dues. I stick with you, VJ. In terms of the lineup, any big surprises for you? For me, I say it straight up. For me, the biggest shock was Kovacic starting. I'm like, sorry, why? And yes, even though he was fantastic, and obviously we'll get to praising him, in a minute, I still don't understand why he played. I still don't get it. Like, just start Ruben, for God's sake, and then bring Charlie Webster on, and then don't even use Kovacic at all. Like, surely that would have made way more sense. So that was the biggest shock to me. Other than that, I would have hoped that Harvey Vale starts. Did I need Pulisic and Hudson Odoi in this team? No, in my opinion. Like, not because they were either good or bad, not by any means, but it's bloody Chesterfield. Sometimes I feel like, and it's no criticism towards Thomas Tuchel, not really anyway. I feel like sometimes the foreign managers, they want to almost show too much respect to the competition. I'm like, it's a fifth division opposition. They're a non-league side. I mean, even though most teams in the fifth division are, as I found out yesterday when I did some research, are actually all pretty much professional, still, they're not in the football league officially of England, right? They're not part of the League Cup. Like, you could have played a younger team. Look at the fact that our best player over the whole 90, because Kovacic only played the first half, was probably Lewis Hall. So, you could have definitely played a couple more. But hey, in the end, for you, VJ, similar surprises, or were you pretty happy with it?
Yeah, I was a bit surprised, a bit taken back as well with the lineup that Thomas Tuchel has announced for this particular match. I was like, because when I did the predictions, I came no way close to this particular lineup. Like with Werner and Lukaku starting, I thought maybe one of them will start and we'll have someone like Harvey Vale or Sun Bell playing alongside, but this was completely, a surprise. And Kovacic probably, the reason why he probably was picked, my guess is that maybe Tuchel wanted to kill off the game in the first 45 and then, just have Kovacic for that. But was Kovacic required to finish that game in 45 minutes? That's probably the question that we might have to ask a team. Like, was Saul Niguez and RLC, not capable of doing it against Chesterfield? But yeah, pretty strong lineup for Chesterfield, if I'm to be honest.
Fair dues. Clutch, similar feelings to that? Because I was very surprised, like I said.
I was more surprised that Tuchel actually did. I shouldn't say did what he said he was going to do. I mean, he basically said he wasn't going to treat them as like the mugs that we might have treated them for yesterday. I mean, yesterday I did predict that Werner and Lukaku would start because for whatever reason, Tuchel wants that partnership to work, even though I don't think it ever will. I don't think Werner has the technical skill to make it work. But yeah, I mean, I was surprised to see the combination of players we've seen, like Pulisic, Cho, Werner, all similar type of players do similar type of things. But I mean, as you see, they're all in vastly different positions. Did I think they were going to use a little bit more youth? Yes, but the fact that Tuchel came out and probably gave them a little bit more respect, I think he wanted to kill the game off in the first 45 and then see what happened after that. I mean, that's what we did anyway, but still, I'm very confused about Pulisic in the 8 position. I'm very confused why we keep trying Werner with Lukaku when it hasn't worked all year. But hey, I mean, we went out there and we got a result.
We did go out there and get a result. And just to react quickly to Amit's comment here, where was it? This game was more about match fitness for the players like Kovacic and Werner. For Werner, I 100% agree. But Kovacic played the full 90 in... He didn't play against Spurs, did he? No. So he played the full 90 against Liverpool and Brighton and played a half against Villa. So, or was it Villa? Like, he's played a lot of football. Kovacic is fit. Like, Kovacic didn't need this game for fitness. Pice, obviously, you and myself discussed it before the game a little bit as well. In particular, I was shocked about Kovacic. Obviously, you brought up why are Pulisic and Callum playing, like I mentioned. what was the biggest shock for you? But in the end, I guess it worked out. But still, I would have liked another couple of youngsters in there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I understand Werner playing because he hasn't had minutes lately. I mean,
yeah,
Lukaku was another one. I was like, kind of makes sense because he didn't really look sharp even today. I guess he just needs to keep building the minutes up. But yeah, I mean, the main two really like Pulisic. I mean, I just didn't understand why he didn't start Harvey Vale. I thought that was very strange. And Kovacic could have easily started Webster in midfield. But
Ruben.
Yeah, or Ruben, yeah, one of those two. Yeah, pretty much that was the reaction to the lineup. To be fair, I expected Christensen to play.
Yeah.
Lewis Hall, I thought would play at wing back, but he played left centre back. So fair enough. I mean, yeah, it was a very strong team. I wasn't expecting the amount of strength we put out.
No, neither did I, to be honest with you. Neither did I. Bettinelli, what is his first name? Marcus Bettinelli. With his first game ever for Chelsea, with his debut, unfortunately couldn't keep a clean sheet. Partly himself to blame, or maybe I shouldn't say mostly, because both Sarr and Baker kind of screwed that up a little bit as well. But he should still save it. Like, neither Kepa nor Mendy conceded that goal, which is a bit unfortunate. But at the same time, he was backup goalkeeper at Fulham. He's third choice goalkeeper with us. So God knows when the last time was Bettinelli played an actual game of football. So should we be too critical? Maybe not. I'll stick with you, Pice. Bettinelli's rating. I mean, it was his debut. Seems like a nice guy. But he should have done better for the goal. And did he have another save to make? One. So.
Was absolutely dreadful in my opinion, especially on the ball. I thought he looked really, really bad. Yeah, and that goal was some of the worst keeping I've seen in many, 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 many games, many months. It was dreadful. Yeah, he didn't look comfortable at all. Not good. 2.
All right. I find it a bit harsh, but I see what you're saying. Like, he's definitely not as good on the ball as Kepa, even as Mendy. But at the same time, he's a pretty old English goalkeeper. When would he have ever learned to play out from the back? Like, back when he was a young goalkeeper, that was not a thing. What goalkeepers were taught back then were punt it to one of your two strikers because everyone was playing 4-4-2 and that was it. Do you know what I mean? So I get it, but I can't say you're wrong. I can't say you're wrong. VJ, let me go to you. Do you think 2 is a little bit too harsh? And what would you go for Bettinelli?
Yeah, I mean, we still managed to pull off a winner here, like that too, with the 4-goal margin, though it is Chesterfield. So I probably go for something like a 4 here for Bettinelli. I mean, he was, don't get me wrong, he did not have a great game, but my concern is that that's probably what you can expect from our third goalkeeper. Yeah. And I think most of his that particular save again, I guess his reflex is something that is a bit slow because of his height. First of all, he is abnormally tall, is what I believe. I've not got his exact height, but I think he's too tall to react as much as quick like Kepa or something. So maybe those are certain things that he might have to work on, as well as distribution was not that great. When Baker passed the ball behind, he was looking shaky. Shaminga or someone, the striker, tried to press him, and he could have easily conceded there. So there are certain things that he definitely has to improve, but 2 is a bit harsh, Pi, so I'm going to go for a 4 there.
Fair dues. I mean, I will say, obviously, with Caballero, we were more than just spoiled of a level of third-choice goalkeeper because, mind you, we signed Caballero to be our second-choice goalkeeper. But then Kepa, unfortunately, wasn't quite good enough. So we had to sign another first-choice goalkeeper, which made Caballero our third-choice goalkeeper. So, it's not normal that your third-choice goalkeeper is as good as Caballero was anyway. So, yeah, that's why I wasn't particularly shocked by this, but Bettinelli, for being perfectly honest with you, played pretty much how I expected, aside from the goal that he conceded, if I'm honest. But Clutch, we've had a 2 and a 4 so far. Where do you sit on it for good old Bettinelli?
I didn't think he had too much to do, to be fair. I think he would have got caught out. There was a shot that was curling that just went wide that he seen last second. And I think if that was a better shot, that goes in. To be fair, I don't know. I mean, that ball was low. He doesn't get down very quickly. So, I mean, I'd probably go with more of a 4.5 or a 5 because I think that goal that they scored was pretty terrible. But I also blame Baker and Sarr more for that goal. So I'd probably go 5. I'm going to go 5.
5. Okay, well, I would have gone 4 as well. So then we end up on the 4, I guess. But yeah, let's not waste too much time in talking about Bettinelli. Chances are it's probably the last time we've seen him. But then again, it depends on who we get drawn against, obviously, in the next round. It could be Cambridge, who beat, what's their face? Newcastle today. So you never know. I'm sure there's some other, lower league sides in the FA Cup still in there as well. So depending on who we get drawn against, maybe Bettinelli gets another game, but we'll have to wait and see. Do you know what? Let's get some positivity going. Lewis bloody Hall, what a superstar. I mean, he looks like Paul Scholes to me, unfortunately. Unfortunately for Lewis. But maybe he doesn't like feet as much, so you never know. It swings and roundabouts. But what a guy. What a guy. I mean, the guy was pulling up with a cramp, still kept playing, got an assist, was involved in the first goal as well with a lovely run, which basically released cover for another lovely run. Like, for me, in terms of the players that actually played more than a half, because otherwise it was clearly Kovacic who was the best player. But in terms of players that played the whole thing, best player on the pitch, I thought. Genuinely did. And I was very, very pleased. I'm not going to go like stupendous and say 9. But I'm going to say 8. I was genuinely very impressed by him and very happy with him, honestly. What a guy. I'm not saying he should now play left centre-back, instead of Rudiger, or he should be playing left wing-back instead of Alonso, even though maybe it's something we can look at. Maybe he should at least be included in the squad a few times to bring on as a sub if need be. I don't know. Obviously, it's Chesterfield. It was a 5th division opposition. So there's only so much you can take from that. But it's still good that he didn't crumble under the pressure. He didn't bottle it. You know what I mean? So, he can certainly hold his own. He's got enough physique about him. Definitely, he's got some good pace about him. He's got a good ball in him. Confidence in dribbling as well. So very, very, very happy with him. Maybe I'd even go, shall I go 9? Is 9 too high? What do you reckon, Clutch?
I was going to go 9, so I thought he was absolutely stupendous for being a 17-year-old kid. Yes, it's non-league, but you can only do, non-league is like playing the under-18s, I guess. So to be fair, he's playing in his type of game, and I would probably, defensively he was really solid. He bumped forward quite a bit of times.
By the way.
He was, his positioning was fantastic. He was always putting his body in between the defender and the ball, every time I think he did. I think there was only one mistake when he passed it back across the goal, but other than that, I didn't see a single foot out of place from him. So I'd probably go 9. I thought it was really good.
You know what? I'll back it. And I'll go with the 9 as well. So 2 9s so far. Pice, I'll go with you next. Do you think a 9 is a bit too high, considering the opponent, or are you equally as happy with him?
I think he was probably man of the match, all things considered. Kovacic in the first half, definitely, but got subbed off. Yeah. 9 probably is justified. The assist he got, he messed up his touch, but then won it back. But yeah, it's interesting because Chesterfield were terrible. So let's not, I see a lot of people saying, start him, put him in the squad for Spurs. He's 17. Let's calm down. He came off with cramp. He's not adjusted to this level. But for a first game, very, very impressive. Was good on the ball. Very, very quick as well. Very, very quick. I thought he was pretty impressive, all things considered. But I just calmed down on the hype a little bit for now. Some people are going crazy, but I'll give him a 9. I think he was pretty solid overall. Just a lot. I tweeted that as well. Very technically secure. A lot of pretty much every Cobham player that gets a chance, they don't look unfazed. They all look ready. They all look like they're comfortable. So that's credit to
None of them have ever looked like Saul did in his first game. That's for sure.
Yeah. So that's a good point. Credit goes to the academy guys as well, the coaches.
For sure. For me, hey, we've had a few games recently, obviously with so many players missing with the Rona and injuries. We've had normal games, not just Champions League, where you have to do it, essentially, with 2 goalkeepers on the bench. Before we put Bettinelli on the bench for absolutely no reason, obviously we can't do that right now anyway because Mendy's gone. Even though Mendy also picked up the Rona, which is unfortunate for him. It makes me feel really bad for him because if he's obviously going to miss at least a bit of the African Cup of Nations, although I don't know what their rules are. Is he going to have to isolate 7 days, 10 days, 14 days? Who knows, right? Someone knows, but I don't know. But I'd rather he catches it when he's not with us anyway. I can't lie, but hey, for him, I do feel bad, and for Senegal, I suppose. But yeah, rather than having Bettinelli on the bench, should have just put Lewis Hall on the bench. Even if you don't use him, it's still better for him to get used to everything and be less, phased by everything when he does get a chance. If he already is used to the whole process, so I agree with you, Pies. Let's not throw the hype in. Let's not. Should we start him over Alonso? No, but could he be on the bench Yes, in my opinion, get him involved. Why not? Might as well start the man. I mean, bloody Hudson Odoi, we started him at 16 to get him involved and start playing me in a couple of games and stuff. It was all 17. Why not? Do you know what I mean? Why not? But VJ, do you think a 9 is too high, or do you agree with us three that we should go with that?
No, completely. 9 is completely fine. First of all, he did not show any nerve. Of course, coming into the first game for Chelsea, 17 years at the Stamford Bridge crowd, full capacity Stamford Bridge crowd, has to perform that way. That too, not in your original position. That's not going to be an easy job. But he did make sure that he, performed to the expectation. And I think the better test for him would be possibly seeing him in the Tottenham game. I'm not sure how feasible that would be, but since we have a 2-goal advantage, maybe a 30 minute or 35 minutes towards the end of the Tottenham game, if we could slot him in that right center back position to see if how he performs against a Premier League opponent, that'd be really great. Probably that's the next step that we might have to look into before we jump into conclusion. But 9 is a fair score for Hull.
That is fair. Just because people have agreed with that. Yes, so did play Villa, and it's Chesterfield. It's not the same thing. The example was just none of our youngsters, in whoever they debuted against, ever struggled as much as Sol did against Villa. And I'm not even here to slag off Sol. People know I'm actually quite defensive of Sol, if anything, if you tune into these streams half regularly. Go on, VJ, what you're going to say.
And if I might add, like when we compare Sol, I mean, he's got the age on on his side, but the thing is, he comes from a different league, so adapting to a new league would definitely be a different story. But these guys, they grew in the English Premier League, so for them, it's not a different league as such. They're used to this physicality, they're used to this sort of a football. So I think when we compare Sol and Hull, obviously we have to take those things into consideration as well.
I mean, yeah, but obviously they play youth football until they play Premier League. So, and then there's that physical difference is arguably bigger than from La Liga to Premier League, than from Premier League 2 or even less to Premier League. Obviously, we didn't play Premier League today anyway, but just to finish off that example. But I'll stick with you, VJ. What about Malang Sarr? To be honest, I thought he was pretty damn good. Pretty damn good is overdoing it. Pretty good until the goal we conceded. Because I thought, other than the goal, I was pretty happy with him. What did you think?
Oh, what's this for me?
Yes, I'll stick with you.
All right. Yeah, for me, I've been looking into Twitter as well in terms of Malang Sarr. There's definitely a divided opinion in how he played today. But honestly, my opinion is, first of all, he's playing this sort of a role for the first time, and I think he did a pretty good job. Not considering the opponent, of course, but then he was trying to distribute the ball like how Thiago Silva does, and he was looking strong there, of course, except for that one error where I guess it was a confusion between Baker and not Baker, Hall and Malang Sarr. I think he pretty much looked.
No, it was Baker and Sarr actually.
Oh, Baker and Sarr, is it? Okay, sorry, I got mixed up. Yeah, so I think he looked all right for me. If I were to give a score for Sarr, I'll probably go with a 7.
Fair dues. Let's see what the other boys say. We'll go with you, Pice. Do you think 7's too high, or what do you reckon?
No, I think it's probably warranted. He was pretty decent, to be honest. A couple of times where Chesterfield did attack, I thought he dealt with them quite well.
I mean, half of the time he had to deal with it all by himself, I thought.
Yeah, I've been quite impressed by him lately, actually. I think he's been settling into the team nicely the last couple of games when he's played. Especially against Spurs, I thought he was pretty decent. I think we give him quite a high rating. So, yeah, I mean, 7's warranted. Maybe even go 7.5, to be fair, just for the fact that he was alone a lot of the time, I thought. And dealt with it pretty well. I don't think he could have done much for the goal, to be honest. I mean, it's one of those. So, yeah, decent.
Interesting. Okay. You didn't think he could do much? Because that's what I'm debating currently. Because I agree on the 7, but I'm not sure how much, if at all, I should deduct for potentially the goal. Maybe I thought he could have done a bit better, but maybe I'd have to see it back, to be honest. Clutch, you said earlier you thought Sarr and Baker were more to blame than Bettinelli for the goal. So what rating would you then go for with Sarr?
I'd go with 7. Other than that silly mistake, I think he was pretty good. I think Christensen was a tiny bit better, but I do think Sarr was really good. He helped out in that middle spot. Basically, I don't remember the guy's name, whoever their number 19 is. he's the guy who scored in consecutive, like 7 consecutive games or something like that. He pretty much shut that guy down the entire game and was bullying him. So 7's fine. I'd go as a 7.
Fair dues. I'll back it. I'll back it. Stick to the 7. I'll just, just because I saw it in the chat. So chat, if you have good questions in the future, just throw them in. I might ask the boys. Just a quick one-word answer by D&D, whatever that means. But who would you keep between Saul, Barkley, if given the choice?
Do we need a choice?
No, but
The only thing I want to see Barkley doing is signing paperwork for a different team.
The problem is, to keep Saul, we need to pay more money. We already have Barkley.
If that means paying more money to not have Barkley, I'm down. I would give Barkley for free to anyone. Anyone.
Hey, maybe we should just send him back to Chesterfield with him.
I agree on that.
We could do that, but I presume it's Saul for you as well, yeah?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, but just about.
No, yeah, probably Saul, to be fair.
There you go. Pice, I'll just stick with you, Mike, as well. Andreas Christensen came back from injury, from his back problem. Seems to have been recovering from them. Okay. Scored a goal. One of the weirdest headers that I saw flying in, almost like Ivanovic against Benfica all those years ago, but just to a much lesser level. Like, I thought, where is that ball going? Because when he headed it, it didn't look like it was going to go so high. And then he did, and it looked like it was going to way over, and all of a sudden it dropped like a stone. But hey, he got his goal, second ever Chelsea goal, so you can't criticise too much, can you?
Yeah, and I thought Tuchel giving the captain's armband was interesting. I mean, I think Tuchel clearly wants him to stay as well.
Kovacic was the captain, bro.
No, he gave Christensen.
The second half, Christensen got it, and then he gave it to Ruben.
Started as Kovacic.
Yeah, he gave Christensen captain. So I think that was probably a message to him, Hopefully that plays with his heartstrings a bit.
But Vice, can I ask you something? I mean, the same thing was done for Rudiger as well in one of the match he captained for the second half. So could we take that as a pointer?
Yeah, I think so. I think could be something. I mean, Tuchel clearly wants both of them to stay if possible, but especially Rudiger. Rudiger's, he's the amount of minutes he's played under Tuchel is outrageous. So yeah, but as I said, hopefully that plays with his heartstrings a bit. But I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, with these contract issues, like if they want to go, they can go. I'm really bored of them. So, but yeah,
he seemed happy. He was the only one that actually celebrated this goal. So
Yeah, I'll give him. What did we give? So I'll give Christensen a 7.5 because of the goal. I was going to give him 7, but 7.5.
I back it completely. Exact same reason. I did a decent job defensively, not much, especially while he was on the pitch. There wasn't that much defending to do. And he scored. So not much to criticize, really. I'm clutch. Would you go along with the 7.5? Would you go even higher for the goal?
My problem is, do we go any higher? Because do I think other people deserve higher? No, let's go 7.5. I'm okay with that. I think Christensen did really well. I think he was just an inch above Malang, and especially when he was captain, he did command the back line pretty well. So I 7.5.
Fair. And BJ, same rating for you, or would you go with different?
Yeah, 7.5 seems good. I mean, fair enough. The thing is, Christensen actually had a clean sheet. I think until he was on the pitch, they did not score. So he probably did his job, and he was supporting well in the attack as well. That you'd like to see from Christensen. That goal as well added to the tally of arriving at the 7.5. 7.5 seems fair enough for me.
I want to switch mine to an 8. Can I switch mine to an 8?
But we're sticking to 7.5 anyway.
That's fine.
All good. Usually, obviously now, ladies and gentlemen, if you tune into these regularly, we obviously now go to the wing backs. Well, because our wing backs today were really not wing backs. Let's go to Saul first. But before that, if you're not already, please should subscribe. We're on the road to 15,000 subscribers. There's pretty much 200 of you here. So, considering we played Chesterfield, not too bad, boys. So, get subscribed if you haven't already. Smash that like button for me. Let's get to at least 100 likes. Doesn't cost you any money. Barely cost you any time. So, do that for me. It helps me out a lot. But so, I mean, again, it was Chesterfield, so not quite the same opponent as Tottenham. But another good performance other than his very silly yellow card. Like, what was he doing with that tackle? But other than that, pretty good. I wish sometimes I wish he listened to the crowd a bit and did take a shot in a couple of occasions just to see what happens. But pretty happy with him, to be honest. I thought he did a good job. He's commanding. He wins his tackles. He does his thing really. I'm going to go quite high in rating. I mean, maybe you boys disagree, but I'm going to give him an 8. Obviously, you can all say we should be giving them all like 6s because we play Chesterfield, but it's not their fault that we play Chesterfield. So we're going to rate it as usual, if that makes sense. Hey, maybe you boys think 8 is too high. Clutch, do you, or would you agree?
I want to go like 7.5. I think he did very well, but overall, just did his job. I mean, I don't know too many moments where he was actually really influential and caused problems to happen like other players might. Because I don't think I'm going to go above 9, and that's leaving me a little tiny gap in between. So,
okay, I hear that. You know what? I'll actually
7.5.
convince me. I'll agree with your 7.5, bro. I'll agree, and the chat said as well. I mean, you can talk about first half. It was quiet, but what his job today was what usually Jorginho's job is. I don't need him to be like doing offensive masterclasses. That wasn't his role today. So I didn't expect that from him today. And from what he was supposed to do, I thought he did pretty well. But 7.5 is still reasonable. VJ, 7.5, 8. Would you go lower than that, like the chat would have done?
I'm gonna go for 7 actually. Yeah, I understand that you're saying that this particular role is something like a registrar role or something, but for me, he was more non-existent on the pitch. Not much of an interception one, or not combining with the attacks. Those are certain metrics that I probably judge him on for this game, at least, because I mean we could still argue that he was supposed to do a Jorginho sort of a role, but then for this match, I don't think so. A Jorginho sort of a role was actually required. So maybe he could have contributed more on the attacking side of the pitch, which he didn't do for me. So, I mean, of course, he did not make any mistakes. Most of the time, and when we talk about Saul, we always talk about, this moment, this is where he actually made a mistake and things like that. But this game, he did not make any errors, but he almost seemed, non-existent on the pitch as well. So I'm going to go for a 7 here.
Fair. I mean, once he did clean up the one small mistake that Lewis Hall had, it was kind of saved by Sol with somehow just punting it away with his thigh and then winning the head-to-head process as well. He did have one really good over-the-top ball really early in the game. I can't remember whether it was the Callum or to Timo. One of the two. Whichever of the two it was, they messed it up. But yeah, I mean, we have a 7 and a 7 and 2 7.5 so far. Timo, yeah, fair enough. 2 7.5s and a 7 so far. Pice, which side of the coin do you sit on?
7. Yeah, I don't know. The midfield didn't really get involved that much, apart from Kovacic. Yeah, standard 7, really. Could even go 6, to be honest. I don't know. Like, it's one of those. Don't really think he was involved too much. Didn't do nothing wrong, but didn't do.
Interesting. I thought he was so involved because in the second half we barely got into the opposition's half, and he touched the ball so many times.
Maybe I don't know. I didn't really. Personally, I didn't notice him much at all.
I'm not saying he got involved in a great way, but he had the ball a lot.
Maybe you just focus on him more.
Maybe. Who knows? But I'll give you the 7 anyway because the chat was going to go a little bit lower than ourselves anyway. So we'll put it down as a 7. Now, before we do the other 2 midfielders, because they were more advanced, let's go to the 2 wing backs. Let's do Callum first. Great goal. Wonderful goal. Bit confused why I didn't celebrate, even though everyone on Twitter had a go at me. But it's just respect. Well, I'll tell you now, if I was playing for Chesterfield, I would feel more disrespected by the Chelsea players not celebrating because they don't even feel it as an achievement to score. Like they score, if he scores that good goal, and it's a really good goal, if he scores it in training, he celebrates it. So why wouldn't you celebrate it? Just celebrate, you know what I mean? That's partly why us fans feel like meh, even though we won 5-1. So even the players don't give a shit that we won 5-1. Again, this is not having a go at Callum. This goes for everyone other than Christensen because none of them celebrated it. But his goal was at least so good that he really deserved the celebration. So I found that a bit weird. Other than the goal, did he do anything? I mean, maybe you have different opinions, and maybe this is one I didn't notice, and maybe, for example, maybe Pice noticed it more. But I didn't see a lot, especially not a lot of good. So I'll go for the goal because it was a great goal. I'll give him a 7, but the goal that's like it's a 6 otherwise, and the goal is so good that it gives him a full point more, and that's why I go 7. But hey, let's see what you boys say. Pice, on that note, I'll just stick with you, or I'll go back to you. Do you think 7's too low, or would you agree with it, or what would you go with?
I'll go with 7.5. I thought he was one of the most involved players, actually, especially down the left-hand side. Thought he was really driving at them a lot. Just what he usually does, to be fair. 7.5 at least because of the goal. I mean, Christensen's got a 7.5, so Hudson Odoi was way more involved than him, in my opinion. And unfortunately for Hudson Odoi, Tuchel said that he felt his Achilles, so it came off as like a precaution. So hopefully he's not too bad because, I mean, it's what he injured in the first place, so hopefully he's all right. Otherwise, we really are.
So long as it's the same foot, I guess, but I'm not sure which would be worse. A new Achilles problem on the other side or the same one. I don't know which would be worse, but hopefully, now that you've said that, I haven't seen that yet, so hopefully it's not too bad. But would he have played against Spurs considering he started today anyway? Probably not, but we'll see. So a 7 and a 7.5 so far. I'll go to you, VJ. Which one of these two would you go with, or would you go with something different completely?
No, I want to go with the 7.5. One thing that I still am looking forward from Callum Hudson-Odoi is most of the time beat a man or a two and then progress forward, which I'm still not able to see. Against Chesterfield, you should be in a position to do that. So I felt, that is something that he was still lacking, and also the number of crosses that he wanted to put in. I guess most of them were either deflected or did not reach the man. So that is something that, he probably have to improve going forward. But in terms of the goal, of course, that goal would have given him a lot of confidence. You might still argue maybe it was for another Premier League opponent. You wouldn't have had that space to actually get the goal, but nevertheless, a goal is a goal, and that was an amazing finish as well. So he gets a 7.5 for me, but there are things that he could probably improve in his game that I'd like to see him improve as quick as possible. 7.5 is fair enough for me.
Yeah, there you go. And the goal, like I said, was really good. Like, there's very few, if any, goalkeepers that would save that shot, if you ask me. But clutch, 7.5. Which one would you prefer to go with? Or something completely different, obviously.
I'm gonna go with 7.5. I think he started off really good. I think he was involved within the first 20 minutes and then kind of died down after that. My problem with him today was it seemed like he was hesitating with his decisions. Like he'd get past somebody and then hesitate a little bit. But even though somebody called me out saying I hate Joe, I did give him credit. It was a lovely goal, fantastic goal. I go 7.5. Yeah, I'm good with 7.5.
Fair dues. It's interesting because I didn't even think he was as involved as Ziyech, to be honest. But fair, maybe you boys saw that differently. But, I wasn't 0.5 off. So let's go to Hakim Ziyech. Got his goal from a penalty spot. Slightly fortunate that the goalie let it slip through because, I mean, he put a lot of power on it, which is the reason it got through, but wasn't exactly placed perfectly. But got to take the penalty, I guess. Was a bit unlucky with a few refs' decisions. I thought he should have had a few more free kicks around the penalty area. Got the kind of assist for Timo's goal. I'm not sure if it will count because it was more of a shot that got deflected and fell to Timo. I thought it was a shot anyway. Maybe you thought it was a pass. I don't know. But pretty decent, I thought. I mean, the goal wasn't as good as Callum, so I'm going to go 7. But I do actually think outside of their goal or lack of goal contribution from open play, I thought it was better than Callum. But maybe you boys disagree. BJ, what do you reckon? 7 for Ziyech, or would you go with something different?
The 7 is a fair score. First of all, he did play higher, up the pitch. It was almost, looking like Alonso on the right flank. But then his defensive work rate was not that impressive. And one thing that I observed with Ziyech today is like he was almost trying to do a Pulisic every time, trying to get a foul as and when possible. It wasn't looking Ziyech-like. It was looking more of Pulisic, where he was trying to get that foul around the 30-yard box. Not sure what he was trying to do. And sometimes he was losing the ball at dangerous position just because it was Chesterfield. It did not transpire into anything dangerous post that, but had it been some other team, this would have been disastrous for him. So he should firstly understand when he plays in that role, he cannot afford to lose the ball as much as he can when he plays as a full-fledged winger. So that is something that he definitely has to improve in terms of his game. But yeah, all in all, he got the goal. He took up the ownership of scoring a penalty. One thing that is a positive for him today that I saw was he improved the power on his shots. Maybe you could argue that was Chesterfield and he just wanted to give all of it, but his power on the shot was quite good, and probably that was the reason why the penalty as well went in. It's not the best of the penalty; it was not towards any corner, but then the power was the entire reason for that goal to go past the keeper. So I think 7 is a fair shot.
Fair. Before I go to any of the other guys, for me, and I'll be intrigued what you boys think as well. Defensively, he's probably the worst of Pulley and Callum and him in terms of could we be what do we do at wing back until we finally bloody sign someone. But I think he's the most capable of being involved offensively of the three, because I mean Callum has had those games, but they were a long time ago. Pulley struggles to really get himself involved unless he just drifts in the middle and just does, goes on a dribble and does something useful there, for example, like he did against Zenit. But Ziyech is actually knows how to get himself involved in things. Obviously, like Vijay mentioned there, you need to be a bit careful if it's a better team, like not losing the ball in certain situations. And also, maybe you can't go quite as high because you definitely make it back. And Ilias, of course, he's not a wing back, but neither are Callum and Pulisic. I mean, Callum could be, but he doesn't want to be. That's why he will never be. So, that's one thing. GG, yeah, I see. I'm still not sure how to say that thing, that word that is their nickname. I've never heard the word in my life before. When I tried to spell it, I misspelt it. So I Googled nickname of Chesterfield. And then this.
Here it is, Laurenz.
Sorry, but I put it in my bloody dictionary, and even the dictionary didn't show up with any words. I was like, oh, I've never had this.
Here it is.
Here you go. But yeah, apparently they have some dodgy angled church tower, a bit like the Tower of Pisa, but yeah, of Chesterfield. But Pice, Ziyech, in terms of rating, do you see what I mean, that he seems more capable of getting involved? Or because obviously Chesterfield is not an example, but obviously the mix he played of it against Spurs made me think that as well.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly demands authority in his game. I think that's the way he plays. He always wants to be on the ball. He always wants to be the centre of attention. He wants to be that leader on the pitch in the attack. So I think he does have that ability. Thought he played decent again today. I'd probably start him against Spurs again if we play that sort of similar formation, because I thought he was very, very good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with a 7. I just think his finishing today was a bit off. He definitely could have scored some goals again, and that was the same problem against Spurs. So, to be fair, he's got a really good all-round game, but the finishing needs improving. I mean, the one where he kind of got past a couple of players and hit it inside the box against the keeper, he should be burying that.
Yeah.
And even the penalty was questionable as well. Too much power, but questionable in terms of placement. And I was actually surprised he took that, because he actually had a pretty poor record for Ajax at penalties. I think I saw a comp of him once of all the missed penalties he had. So I was like, oh God. Yeah,
I thought they might let Pulley take it, considering just because he won it, and none of our other penalty takers were on the pitch, and because Timo Werner is not a penalty taker under Thomas Tuchel anymore. Only Lampard had those crazy ideas. But yeah, fair enough. If you say the 7 is okay, shall I move on to you, Clutch?
He probably should have had a couple assists if Lukaku put things on target.
True, he should have done. Those were good deliveries from the corner.
To be fair, I'd probably go 7.5. I think in the first half he was very involved. He had a couple times he probably should have had an assist. But in the second half, his finishing was just poor, and he kind of just was there making dribbles, and then when he got himself into a bad situation, like Vijay said, just kind of fell over trying to draw a foul. I don't think that a lot of them were going to be called a foul. I think if you're not going to call that very first time Pulisic got into the box and got ran over, if you're not going to call that a foul, then a lot of the Ziyech penalty or calls weren't going to be a foul either. So fair enough. I'd go 7.5.
Fair. I mean, we'll stick with the 7 overall, but fair dues. Fair dues. Let's go Kovacic, who obviously only played the first half, but was brilliant in that first half. Obviously set up he didn't set it up as such, but kind of created the first goal with a lovely run through the middle. Of course, it was Chesterfield. But you could also see the level of control we had of midfield in the first half compared to the second half. It was definitely a big difference. And it was brilliant. Obviously, it was only the first half, but for the first half, I see what someone said in the chat. They said they think that all the ratings are a bit high considering who we played, and I get that logic. It's just difficult to first of all, difficult to rate how good or bad really Chesterfield are, because were Chesterfield so much easier to play against than Spurs were the other day? No. We just had not as good players on the pitch. So I think do you know what I mean? But if anything, it was the opposite. Maybe the defense itself, sure, but could we have scored 5 goals against Spurs comfortably? So, do you know what I mean? I'm going to go for his 45. I'm going to go 9. I thought it was brilliant, even though I still don't think he should have played in the first place. Pice, would you agree on the 9, or do you think that's maybe pushing it a bit?
I mean, based off the first 45 minutes, probably does. I think I said he was if he played the full 90, which would be stupid anyway, I think he would have been man of the match. I mean, the runs through midfield were a joke. He was taking the piss, genuinely, just having a bit of fun out there. But I mean, based off the 45 minutes, sure. I mean, 8.5, 9, maybe 8. I don't know. It depends how high you want to go. But I mean, I certainly wouldn't be against it. I mean, he was very, very good again.
I mean, yeah, we could obviously go 8.5, like I said, but I was pretty happy with him. So would you go for the 9? Just so in case the other boys go with something different, so I know what we go with in the end.
I mean, I'm never against Kovacic propaganda, so go on then.
There you go. VJ, 9 for you, too high?
I'd say 8.5. Of course, captain the team. I'm not sure if he's done that before, but then, came in as a leader of back and, got the team to a first half lead, which is kind of difficult to come back from, though you could still argue that's Chesterfield. But the way that he was playing in this game, I guess he was playing as if there was no midfielders from Chesterfield in that midfield area. So he was running throughout the midfield. Only thing that stopped him was probably the defense there. And he was trying to combine well with Lukaku as well. Maybe that did not work because Lukaku as well was not completely confident on the ball, but I guess his combinational play with our strikers is going to be the key going forward in this season as well. Initially when we started the season as well, Kova was combining well with Lukaku, and that's why Lukaku started scoring goals, is what I personally think. But for today's performance alone, for me, Kova ranges from anywhere between 8.5 and 9. So I'd still be okay with the 9, and 8.5 is still fair for me. So if you guys go with the 9, then I'm fine with it.
Fair. Clutch, similar sentiment?
9 all day for me. For Kovacic, 9 all day.
Fair dues. I'll stick with you because he's your boy, Christian Pulisic. Odd position for him today. Obviously, throughout the first half, at some point, him and Ziyech kind of just switched and did one of those ones. But still, Ziyech was way more involved, and then Pulisic was just not involved, but out here. So it wasn't necessarily a positional reason why he wasn't involved. I mean, maybe to some extent, but not solely. But then he won us a penalty. I mean, did he have to do much for winning that? Or was it just one of the clumsiest defenders I've ever seen? But hey, he won it. So, that give credit where credit's due, I suppose. But other than that, I was just wondering where he was really at, to be honest.
I texted you at some point. I was like, yeah, Pulisic. I think Pulisic's playing the 8. And it looked like he had zero clue how to play the position because he didn't. The ball was, and the thing is, Pulisic's biggest strengths are if you get the ball to his feet and then he's going to start dribbling. It's not his off the ball work, and the ball was just never coming to him. He never seen the ball. He never seemed to understand where the positioning was at, where the space was at to get to there. And I think that's why he got switched with Ziyech, because Ziyech does play that number 8 role pretty good. And then, I mean, obviously Pulisic can play the right wing back role, so that's where he went. I will also say he did get the assist for Callum's goal, so that is an assist technically, as much as I think it's true. It's more for Callum doing it. 6, I guess. I don't know. I'm not gonna be harsh on him because, like I said, he's the Swiss Army knife of the team. He just gets put wherever he needs to be put. So I guess a 6, average, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not really sure yet, so I'll go with the other guys first. Pice, 6 for you. Obviously, officially got an assist and won a penalty. But other than that, there wasn't much, was there?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say like NA up until the penalty, to be honest, because I really didn't notice him at all. I forgot he was on the pitch, to be honest. But yeah, I guess he's been shoved around in many different positions at the moment. But still, I mean, he was I mean, a lot of the time he was on the right wing back, I thought. And I mean, he's played there before and got involved. And he won the penalty, so I'll at least give him some credit for that. But yeah, no major runs or anything, which I was kind of expecting against such a poor defence. What do I give him? Yeah, I guess 6 is okay. Yeah, 6 because he won the penalty.
Fair. VJ, what do you make?
He had a couple of clutch moments, like winning a penalty, probably assisting and all that. But I personally think what Pulisic brings to this team is dribbling and moving inside the box, trying to win penalty, which of course he did today, and winning fouls in dangerous positions. That also he seemed to be doing good. But he is a lot more than that. Not just doing that. He needs to dribble past 2 or 3 players, which we did not see Pulisic doing today. And if that is not happening against a Chesterfield team, then that's a worrying sign. But maybe you could still argue because Ziyech was playing there was a positional difference, and he probably did not adapt to this game. But you're expected to adapt to a team like Chesterfield, even if you had not really prepared for the for the game, because in the game obviously they played a 3-4-3, which means that you have space to run into as well, because they have a 3 at the back system. So you can probably give and go sort of a tactics. You can still implement those with Ziyech and could have been even more successful, which I did not see from Pulisic today. But so a 5.5 or a 6 is what I can probably give for Pulisic today.
You're muted, Laurenz.
Sorry, my bad. Thank you. I don't know, because like obviously he won the pen again. Did he do much for that pen? Not really. Was the assist much of his credit? Not really. Was he bad? No, but he just, obviously usually, and I was almost going to say this a minute ago, I don't really like the whole wasn't involved. That's only so and so relevant. Like obviously Pi said, Callum was more involved than Christensen. I'm like, well, we played Chesterfield and Callum's an attacking player compared to Christensen being a centre back, so duh. But Pulisic was the opposite, like literally not involved. So I might have gone 5, to be honest, but not in a bad way, if that makes sense. Just like I didn't see him enough to even give you an average rating, and I'm almost gonna down you by 1 just because I didn't see you enough. But he did win a penalty. Obviously, in the end, the 6 will win anyway. But I might have gone 5, if I'm honest. I might have gone 5, just because then I wanted to do it here anyway, but I forgot. Let's quickly do Ruben, because obviously Ruben actually played a half as well, as will Kai Hara on the pitch. Captain Darben, once Christensen came off, which was a beautiful sight to see for me. Close to bloody tears I was. Do you know how long I've waited for that, boys? I mean, I was pretty happy with him. I mean, but I'm pretty happy with him most of the time. And some people tell me, oh, shit, which I disagree with. But what triggered me is his wonderful ball after a wonderful run to Kai. And Kai is just like, sorry, what is that? This was you, Kai, not Timo. Why are you playing like Timo? It's pissing me off. And the ball to Barkley wasn't half bad either. That Barkley decided to do the worst Cruyff turn I've ever seen, even if his shot was actually just over. And did Ruben play the ball to Ziyech for when Ziyech had his chance that the goalie saved? Maybe not. But yeah, I was going to give Ruben a 7, but maybe you guys disagree. We'll see. VJ, 7 too high for Ruben, or would you agree with it?
You know what? I'm going to go for a 6.5. Okay. One quick question before I give a number. Are we judging him by the limited minutes he had, or how are we doing this?
Well, he played the same amount as Kovacic. They both played 45 today.
All right. So yeah, for me, it's a 6.5. I did not see that sort of a performance that you usually get from Ruben Loftus-Cheek, because again, RLC is someone who can dribble in the center of the pitch, and that's exactly what you expect. Like being box to box, you can move past one player or a couple of players. I don't see that from RLC, though his distribution was quite good. Like how you mentioned, Havertz, I don't know what he was trying to do there. Took a touch, just flared it across. So those are certain moments that he had with respect to passing, but in terms of dribbling, I could have seen a lot better from Ruben Loftus-Cheek. But that could also be because Chelsea did not want to really, press or really did not want to give their 100% in the second half is what I think. So maybe the substitutes who came in should not be judged as harsh as you would want them to be, because they all just wanted to fill that
falling up by the time they came on, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was just 45 minutes. Just go there, get your legs some minutes, and then it's pretty much it. So maybe the expectation from Thomas Tuchel as well was not, probably give you 100% or anything. So he just had to get some minutes in his feet, and probably he did that. So 6.5 for him.
Fair. I'll go with Pice last. So Clutch, what do you reckon? 6.5, 7. Where do you sit on Ruben's performance?
Because I know it's going to bring a smile to your face. Let's give you a 7. Let's give you the 7.
Come on. And hey, for once, it seems like I'm not like super biased, because some people in the chat at least agree. Some people have said 6.5 to be fair, but again, it's not particularly far. It's just T-Spot is very unhappy with us talking about Pulisic. Thought it was much better than Ziyech, which I'm not quite sure you've come to that conclusion, considering Ziyech just...
I don't even believe that. I'm just, like I said, I'm just not going to overly criticize Pulisic for being played out of position all the time. Yes, he wasn't involved. He was not getting passed to. His biggest strength is dribbling. And if he's not going to be playing in his positioning, of course he's going to ghost. It's not a surprise. It's like anything that happened with Pulisic today was not a surprise.
No, it wasn't.
So, I mean, am I going to sit here and go, he was a 0, he's shit? No, I'm not going to do that, because that's not fair to him.
I think he should be way higher, though.
Oh, but no, he's lucky to get a 6.
Yeah.
As I know, though, Cho don't ghost when he plays at wing back, so...
He ghosted against Zenit. And he couldn't even be bothered for that game. That's what pissed me off about that.
No. Sorry, Pice. Nah, I'm not having that. Every time Cho plays wing back, you say he can't do anything because he's playing wing back, and now you're saying he doesn't ghost. So what? So what is the excuse for when he does play that in?
No, you just proved my point. No, you just proved my point. He gets involved so much that he can't do anything.
That's the point.
Because when he plays right wing back, he's always the outlet, so he gets to the edge of the box. Then my point is he can't do anything because he's not left-footed, so he can't cut in, and he gets just drowned out to the edge of the box and plays it back. It's...
No, I get that, but how is it different to what happens to Pulisic when he plays wing back?
Because Pulisic, I don't notice him on the pitch when he plays wing back. That's the difference. We need to stop saying that, he's just going to ghost because he doesn't play in his favourite position. He needs to get involved more.
I mean, that is fair, and, your judgment. But for me, it's actually the opposite way. I notice Pulisic more than Callum. And I'm not saying that means you're wrong or I'm right and you're right. I just think maybe you see Callum more and I see Callum less. And that's why we have the same conclusion about different players. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe.
Who knows? But, I mean, we've had 2 7s and 1 6.5 for Ruben so far, Pice. More on the 6.5 side for you?
So I was actually going to give him a 7 because I thought he played pretty decent. I saw a lot of people on Twitter say that he was rubbish, he needs to go, he's not good enough. I'm just like...
Because people just like to hate, man.
But I'm just like, for depth, he's perfectly good enough. I thought he made quite a lot of driving runs today. I thought he was good on the ball. I thought he started some attacks. I don't really know what else people wanted from him. I mean, a goal would have been nice, but he didn't get in those positions anyway. It's not his job to when you play in the pivot. It's different. He's not actually an attacking player. His job is to drive from deep in these positions and get the ball forward. So I thought he did decent. I'll go with 7. I thought he was good. But yeah, I saw a lot of slander on Twitter, him and Barkley getting slandered. Barkley, fair enough, but Ruben, I didn't really understand it. I thought he played decent.
Yeah, I mean, I'd see it as well. I mean, the one criticism I do understand about Ruben often is when they say he's too slow in releasing the ball. I completely agree. He did that again on a couple of occasions today. But that's not all football is. I'm not sat here giving him a 9 or a 10, right? Which would be crazy because he releases the ball too slowly on occasion. But releasing the ball too slowly on occasions doesn't mean you boy shit. Like, there's way worse things you could do in football. So what do you do then? Do you know what I mean? But fair. We sit on the 7 overall. Then let's move to the front two. Let's see what opinions we have here. Timo got a goal, nearly did a Leeds, couldn't control the ball, but squeezed it over. Assisted the second goal, but was, as usual, offside. And other than that, was just dreadful, really. I mean, I honestly said to my girlfriend watching the game, like, you know how Kovacic, when he plays the game, you're like, well, he's clearly way too good for playing against Chesterfield. Timo was playing against Chesterfield. I'm like, seems about your level, mate, to be honest. Like, that's honestly what it looked like. And even then, he wasn't, like, good. Like, honestly, what do we do with that guy? Like, there's going to be we're going to make more of a loss on Timo Werner than we will on Kepa Arrizabalaga, I'm telling you right now. Pice, you were the angriest about him, I think, and people were already coming at your head, which I think is outrageous, because go for Timo's head when he's playing shit all the bloody time. But Pice, what do you reckon about Timo?
Yeah, I mean, he got a goal, but it was a tap-in. I mean, you can't... I mean, do we even credit from that? Like, yeah, fair enough, he was in the position. I think... Did he get an assist or not? I saw some people say he got an assist. Can't even remember now. I mean, he got an offside assist because he was offside, but I don't know whether you wanted to blame Barkley for that or not, or whoever it was. He did make the run, but yeah, he was offside. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I've had the same feeling about him for just so long. I just think he has such limited skill set. Like, he's got such limited technical ability. Like, so many times today, he was getting on the left-hand side, and then as soon as the defender would face him up, he'd always try and cut in, but then he can't, like, dribble past players, so he'd shoot, and every one of his shots were so shit, and just... Yeah, I don't know. I don't rate him at all. Honestly, I don't. I think he's useful against high lines, running in behind, but that's about it. And we've said this so many times. There's like 2 or 3 teams that play a high line in the Premier League. Like, I just think it's another scouting fail from us personally. I don't know. I just think in these games, like, he was losing the ball, like, just weak. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what's wrong with this guy. He's just... And I'm getting absolutely flamed on Twitter for it, and I don't know why. He's got to have the most protected fan base behind him. I swear, the fans love him. It seems. I mean, I've got like 200 replies already. It's crazy, but I thought he was terrible. I really did. I thought he was terrible.
Well, what when you say terrible, what does that mean in rating for you?
Like, similar to Bettinelli, terrible. I have to give him like a 2 or a 3, to be honest. I'll give him a 3 because of the goal, but his all-round game was shocking. Like, I don't understand how people can watch Werner and actually enjoy him. Like, he was struggling against this team. He did not look a class above what's their name? Chesterfield. He didn't look he didn't look like a Chelsea player.
If you go by leagues, yeah. Exactly. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm not sure what I'll go with yet. I'll reveal it at the end. VJ, 3-2 low for you, or would you go along with it?
In India, we have a famous saying where, your opponent, if you face an opponent and there is a character who faces an opponent and gathers 50% of their strength and represents themselves, the same way, right? And that's probably Timo Werner for us. Like, if you play against Chesterfield, he'll do the same thing. If you play against someone like Liverpool, he'd probably, play the best of his game. But again, talking about Timo Werner, most of his goals come through highline teams is what I feel. He has to stop the ball, first of all, to actually do something with it. He basically, hits the ball and keeps running behind it and expects the ball to do the rest of it. I don't know how to even put that in words, but he basically needs to, stop and direct the ball differently, which he doesn't seem to be doing. I'm sorry, I'm a bit disappointed with Timo Werner's performance, not just today or the past like 1.5 years. I'm not really a fan of Timo Werner either. So for me, 3 is was that a 3 or what is that? It's a 3?
A 3, yes. That's what Pice gave him.
All right. 3 is a bit harsh for me, especially if he's got a goal, though it's a tap in and a free post. I'd probably go with the 4 since, he did try and make some runs. Sometimes it was not tracked by our wingers as well. What he would have done with that runs, that's completely another argument. But yeah.
It's a weird one. Like, Timo Werner, honestly, he plays football. And, people, if you like Timo Werner, you might take offense to this. But Timo Werner plays like a 10-year-old. who hasn't yet learned how to dribble or run playing football without looking at the ball. And that's like I saw Monster, and I don't often agree with Monster. I don't always agree with Monster, but the reason why Timo misses so many chances is because he needs to look at the ball all the time. So by the time he looks up, the goalkeeper is so close to him that he often doesn't even have a chance to score anymore, because goalies literally train to move when the player isn't looking at you, because then the player can't think of something to do about you moving. Then it's too slow to chip you, too slow to this, to that. And it's literally why he couldn't score the Ziyech pass against Spurs, because he controlled it. And if you watch the replay, he's just looking at the ball. And he doesn't even realize that Lloris is right in front of him. He doesn't even realize it, that he's that close. And by the time he chips it, he just doesn't know what he's doing. And Morata is identical. Morata is the exact same problem. Always looking at the ball. And I'm like, if you're playing at a level of Chelsea Football Club, you need to be capable of running with the ball without always looking at it. Like, that is shocking. Like, literally shocking. It's a big problem. I might not have quite gone as low as 3, because I don't know. He didn't miss a sitter. Lukaku missed much bigger chances than Timo did. So I might have gone 4, just like VJ did, but still, it's just not good. It's just not good. And that's a 5th division opposition. Like, if you don't look good against a 5th division opposition, okay, he's just coming back from the Rona and stuff, and a small injury as well, I think. I can't remember now. But anyway, so it's just coming back, okay? But still, it's a 5th division opposition, and you still don't look good. Like, when will you ever? I mean, I get VJ's analogy of, like, the worse the opponent, the worse he looks. I get it. But he's also played against Man City and looked bad. So, you know what I mean? But Clutch, 3 for you, 4 for you, 3.5. Would you go higher? Would you go lower, which would be a bit crazy?
I tend to agree with Pius on this. I mean, I don't know how many times I come on here and say it, that Werner has a decent game, and then we're like, oh, we got to go play Werner. We got to go play Werner. And this is the kind of formation that Werner is supposedly the best at, with a bigger striker to play off of.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
Here's the problem. He can't dribble whatsoever. Every time he got the ball today, it was like, I'm just going to go across the literal top of the box and then try and shoot or lose the ball. That's all he did. So to say, yes, he was better than Pulisic statistically, yes, but he had more of the ball. I really wish that, like, Sofa score was working today, so I could see, like, how many touches everyone had, because I guarantee Pulisic was like 20, and Werner was probably in the 60s or 70s. So, I mean, for me, I'd go 4, because I'm not trying to be super mad. But Werner, like, he's the kind of player that I think is good with the right type of defense to go against. Like, that's why he was so good in the Bundesliga, because they don't play the type of defense they play here in the Premier League. He will never be good here. He will be good against 3 teams. I'm sorry if you don't like that answer.
And he will never be good enough to build confidence, and he clearly needs confidence to be good in the first place.
Yes, and for me, like, he is a wonderful person. I love his personality to death. Love it. One of the funniest people you could ever see, unironically.
Yeah.
But
I will give. Go on.
But we're expecting to win things, and we need consistency. Werner's taking up a spot of either a Havertz, a Cho, or a Pulisic, who, when they play in their preferred position, where it's where he's at, they do more damage than him. But yes, he does it. He makes runs. He makes space. But when nothing comes of it, it doesn't matter. I think, what was it, Khan said that last year we looked like we had a lack of finishing, but a lot of our players would have a lot more assists if he could finish. That's the problem. So I like Werner as a person, and if it was just his character, I'd keep him around all the time. But as a player, I cannot do it. I cannot keep rooting for him.
No, I agree. I will actually put mine to a 3.5, which ends us as a 3.5 overall. But one last thing I do want to say about him. The one credit I will give him, it's never going to happen like what we spoke about Pully today, what we've seen about Lukaku sometimes, what we said about some other players sometimes, that they're not involved, that they don't see the ball. Werner will always come back and get the ball if he doesn't get it otherwise. He will always do that, which is, in a way, credit to him. The problem is just then when he gets it, he doesn't do anything useful with it. So do we even want him to get it? Maybe not. So that's a problem. But if certain other players on a game like today, Pulisic, came to demand the ball more, that would do them well. So that trait of Timo is good, but and his pace, those two are the kind of only two good ones. Let's get to Lukaku. Let's see. I'm going to go last on this one because I went first with my rant about him the other day, and people were like, "I don't actually think he was that bad." So let's see whether you think he was that bad. BJ, Romelu Lukaku today obviously scored. It's happened though.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, Romelu Lukaku, when we talk about Romelu Lukaku or someone like this, right, the financial value of the player is what comes into your mind most of the time. And there's nothing wrong in, judging the player by that as well, that metrics as well, because that always is in the background. 100 million pound striker, and then you're playing against the fifth level or fifth league, it is not helping his case. First of all, I'm not sure if he needed to play this game, and if at all he needed to play this game, he should have played a lot better is what I think. A lot of corners that Ziyech delivered, they kind of had an understanding as to Lukaku is the one who's going to reach the ball and then take a shot, but every single shot was off target, which I was really, really disappointed because there was no one marking him as well. When he actually transferred from the far post to the near post, the defender completely lost him. So basically, you were completely unmarked, and you had all the time in the world to put the ball in at least on target. So if you cannot do that, that too with your left foot, I don't know. Those are certain things that you have to be very concerned about. Maybe this has got to do with the off-field conundrum that was happening around him, and probably as and when it progresses, maybe he'll get better. But it's high times that he starts scoring goal for Chelsea Football Club, because the fan bases of a different opinion and different expectation with him. It's not anymore the same that when he started in the Premier League. So he is going to be judged harshly on the pitch going forward, and he has to be in a position to deal with it. And these sort of performance is not going to help his case, is what I think. In terms of numbers, Lukaku gets probably he got a goal, again a tap in. I'll go for a 4.5 or something.
4.5. Fair enough. Some people in the chat saying if he gets higher than Werner. I have decided I'll go back to my 4 because 3.5 seemed too harsh. But 4.5 so far for Lukaku. Let's see what the other boys say. Pies does need to head off in a second, so I will give it to you next, Pies. What do you reckon, Lukaku today?
Average 5. Got a goal. I don't think I can give him any higher than that, but I won't give him as low as Werner because, as I said to you before, every single time he does play bad, at least he gives us that hold-up play, and I thought, again, that was very, very good today. I thought it opened up a lot of opportunities for us on the attack, and especially I think it helped Ziyech as well down the right-hand side. And I like the fact that he was running down the right channel as well, rather than just being static. So, I mean, yeah, he missed a few chances. The volley was probably... I mean, I don't know. When I first saw it, I thought, yeah, he should have scored that. But then again, I saw it on the replay and it kind of just fizzed at him like it was one of the instinct ones.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there was a couple of
early chance he had. You remember the early chance that he put just over from also a corner?
Yes, he should have scored that one.
That one he should score, and one other one he should score. The volley, I agree with you. That's difficult.
Yeah. I won't give him too high, but 5. I mean, it's just interesting because I didn't think personally he looked like very fit out there. Didn't look up to sharp. Like he didn't look that sharp to me. I don't know whether he just wasn't. I don't know whether he was preserving energy.
Instead of working out, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's. I don't know what's the plan with him for obviously next week, but I'd imagine he starts because he came off. So, guessing he's going to start against Spurs away. So, yeah, I'll go with 5. I know you're probably going to go lower, but yeah, I'll go with 5.
Fair dues. Pies, I know you're going to head off. Appreciate you for coming on, of course, as always, mate. And we'll chat to you soon. Take care, bro.
All right, just for Clutch, he wants me to do a Barkley rating, so...
Go on.
So, yeah.
I'll come on for again? Cho, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he was very, very bad, right? So, yeah, I think we have to go with 0.
Injected into my veins.
No. But like for real, I don't want to like be harsh on any player, but holy shit, the amount of passes he delayed, like, oh my God. He was like, and there was this one time where he was in the middle, like, near the edge of the box, and he just froze and lost the ball. And I was just like, what is this guy doing? Like, he looked so out of depth for some reason. Maybe you'll give him like a 2 or something, but I mean, 0/NA because I like, / what the F are you doing? Maybe as a rating. Like, I don't know. Like, it was just, this is the thing. Like, I'd like to see Vale just. This one thing I tweeted out. I didn't like the Vale was playing right wing back. Also, just play him in further forward, man. Like, I thought Barkley should not get any minutes going forward over Vale or anyone of that. He's not. His decision making is so bad. I'd rather trust one of these young guys. Honestly, I think they're better than him. They really are. I'm sorry. If we can get him out on loan this month as well, that'd be good.
Triggered me when he came on over both Simmons and Webster. I can't lie.
Yeah, but yeah, that's my Barkley rating. But I'll see you guys next stream. I'm gonna go get some rest.
Take care, Take care. Good to speak to you.
See ya.
Feel better, guys.
And Clutch. I still go last on Lukaku. What do you reckon? We've had a 4.5 from VJ, a 5 from Pice. Where would you sit on it?
See, I completely agree with Pius on the hold-up thing. I think in that first 20 minutes, especially, Lukaku's hold-up play was really good, and it was causing a lot of problems. I mean, that's honestly why we ended up getting the chances that we got, especially with Ziyech. If Ziyech buries a couple of them, they look a little bit better, and I think Lukaku gets a couple assists. So, but his misses for $100 million pound striker is poor, especially when he's playing like Werner. He's playing like how he wants, with somebody to run off of and be in that channel that he has, not to be the static striker that we've been seeing him as. So I'd probably go with the 5. If 6 is average, I'd take away a whole point for the missed opportunities and the fact that, you know what, let's go 4.5 because I'm still pissed about the interview.
Now, for me, I get the whole hold-up play thing, and no one that says that is wrong. The only thing that's wrong about that is that it's no better than Giroud's hold-up play. And we sold Giroud for 1 million, and we signed Lukaku for 97.5 million. So if all we get from him is hold-up play, why on earth didn't we just keep Giroud? Because for hold-up play, I didn't need to pay 100 million, right? And don't give me a silly wink for a tap-in after he scored. What are you doing? Against any sort of decent goalkeeper, he doesn't even score because he doesn't even hit it properly and it rolls under the goalkeeper. So if it's in the Premier League, he doesn't even score that goal. So giving it all large, giving it an interview, I'm like, I'm great, I'm multi-dimensional. No, you're 0-dimensional. You can't even score against Chesterfield properly. What is that? Like, again, like Pice said, the volley I let him off for, that's difficult. But the first chance, 100 million, you score that. The second chance, the third one, I guess, you score that. And then when he passes it wide, I'm like, bro, you're a £100 million striker. You're playing against the 5th division team. And you just gave it the big one in an interview. And you still don't have the balls to shoot? What is the point in you? Tammy Abraham has his hat-trick in that first half, I guarantee it. I guarantee it. He has a hat-trick. Like, he can't even shoot as well as Abraham. And do you know how much all of us criticized Abraham last season? Not even last season, because last season he barely played. The season before that. Or, well, second half of the season before that, first half of last season, I guess. Do you know what I mean? Like, just because someone is so expensive and just because we think he's so good, doesn't mean we should be less critical. That's not how it should be. And yes, I've said it fully, and I was lenient to some extent in some streams. But then after West Ham, I was like, what are you doing, mate? Sorry, what is that? Or after Juve, I'm like, what are you doing? But after this interview, if you can give it that big, I'm going to be that harsh in ratings. Because if you have the balls to do that and you don't have the balls to shoot, I don't understand. Maybe you should work in TV and not on a football pitch. I don't get it, man. I don't get how people are just so nice to him after what he's like after these last two before. I don't get it. How are people like, oh, he wasn't that bad? I just don't understand where this is coming from. Like, he cost 100 million. Like 100 million.
And I think the worst part is it doesn't even seem like he wants to be here, and every miss makes it feel that much more worse. Like, that's my problem. Like, that whole interview was about, like, just made it seem like he didn't want to be here. And if you don't want to be here, fair enough. That's fine. Don't come here. Don't say you want to be here. You want to retire here. I have no problems with you coming here for a paycheck, but don't say you came here because you want to retire here. Now you said all you said. Now here what I'm thinking is, every miss is, he can't be bothered to try harder to score. That's every time I miss, that's all I can think about after that interview. If he never did that interview, I don't think that. I just, he's in bad form, whatever. That'll change. Now I just he doesn't want to play for us, so what's the point?
Can I say something?
It's true. And like, he put us in a position where we have a 5th division team coming to visit. And all they're bloody singing about is Romelu Lukaku, he's into Milan. And that's what we have to listen to about our £100 million striker, our record signing, who apparently loves us so much. And he had the audacity to say in an interview that we have to listen to this from 5th division fans now. Like, do you understand how ridiculous that is? Do you understand how bad for marketing that is? Like, we're not even just this shit on the pitch. He's also ruined everything off the pitch. And people just let it go. Like, again, I know I sounded a bit nicer when, like, 2 days after it happened before we played. But I told you as honestly as I could at the time, I'll only really know how I feel when I see him play. And I figured out how I felt when I saw him play. And I'm just going to be harsh. Like, if he does well, I still like praise it, because I still try to be objective. But I still always hold him against, if you can't score a simple header like against Spurs, should have trained your headers instead of giving an interview. If you can't score anything, except the most simplest of tap-ins and that needing a bad goalkeeper, then maybe you should have worked on your finishing instead of giving an interview.
And I think
100 million, did he force to pay you that? What? I wish he paid me that.
I mean, here's the thing.
No, he didn't. No. Let me answer this. No, Global. He didn't force us to pay that, but he still cost that, and he keeps talking about himself how he's basically the greatest thing since sliced bread, and sliced bread isn't even particularly great. Do you know what I mean? Like, he is the guy that keeps talking about how great he is, but he's not actually ever doing anything great except against Arsenal and against Villa on 2 occasions. Those are the 2 times where he did it. 3 times, I guess. 2 times against Villa and once against Arsenal. Those were good games. Yeah, he scored a couple of other goals, but was overall his performance good in any other game? I would say no. Yes, he did score today, but it's happened that any decent goalkeeper saves. And again, like, I wasn't anti-Lukaku. I'm not sure if I'd call myself anti-Lukaku now, maybe a little bit. But it's more like I'm just extremely anti when he doesn't play well, because now I'm like, I expect a certain level of performance when you give that kind of interview.
And,
like, go on.
And I think if you go back to that summary, there were basically 3 realistic strikers we were after, right? It was Haaland. First, when Haaland fell through, we thought about the next 2 realistic options. The second best striker in the world at that point was Lukaku. Third was Lewandowski. Actually, yeah, because Lewandowski was on Lukaku's too. So we were after both of those players. Lukaku said he wanted to be here. When you want to be here, when you want to play for a team, like if you see a Mason Mount who wants to be here, you can tell that guy wants to be here. There is no other club after that for him. We are end-all be-all for him. You can tell that because he plays his heart out on the field. I don't know that Lukaku's doing that. So when he plays badly, you're going to get a lot more stick for playing bad. Of course you cost $100 million. You were the second best striker in the world. Just think if Lewandowski was 31 years old, 28 years old, and he was doing what he's doing now, how much he would be worth? 150? Easy. So yes, yes, he cost $100 million. We expect a certain level of result, and we expect a certain level of professionalism out of him, and that didn't happen. So he is going to get criticized worse when he plays bad because we don't think he wants to be here. That's just how it is.
Exactly. And the 100 million becomes relevant when for 100 million, you can't even behave yourself. Like, it's not his fault that it cost 100 million. Fair enough. But it's his fault that he gave an interview. Is it not? And it's his fault that in every interview he gives, talks about how multidimensional he is, how great he is, how great Inter is, how great Lautaro Martinez is, how great Conte is. The only thing that's not great is Lukaku. Because where is great Lukaku? I haven't seen it since Arsenal. Okay, fair enough. He came on against Villa. So I've seen 45 minutes of great Lukaku since then. Fantastic. And don't compare it to Havertz, because Havertz is 22. Lukaku is 28. Havertz's price was partly due to potential. Lukaku's price was solely completely on quality right now because he's 28. That's a big difference. That's also why I'm not as harsh on Pulisic, because he costs 60 million, but a lot of that is on potential. That's not his decision what other people decide how good his potential is.
Let's not forget
it's not his decision. And listen, he's scoring. No, he's not. He scored a simple tap-in against Chesterfield, bro. He scored 1 goal against a fifth division team, and you're happy. Sorry, what are your expectations?
We bought him for 20 plus goals this season. That is it.
And he scored 1 against Chesterfield. 1 against Chesterfield. And he didn't even try scoring otherwise. No, he did. But the one chance where he could have shot from like 20 yards, not even like way distance. Just shoot, man. You're a striker. You're good at shooting. We all know he can shoot. So why doesn't he do it? It's just baffling to me. Honestly, baffling to me. Rating. I mean, I might have sounded harsher than I will actually go. I will go 4. So did Pi say 5? And you said 4.5, didn't you? Maybe I'll go 3.5. I'm not sure. What happened here? Clutch was kicked out. There he is. I'm not sure. Shall I go 4, 3.5? I go 3.5 just to get lower to a 4 because I don't think he should be any higher rated than Timo Werner today. Kai Havertz obviously played the full second half. Let's finish this off. Not take too long. I don't want to sit here and rant about Lukaku every time, but he just really gets on my nerves. Like, it just, if you talk yourself up but then you play bad, that just doesn't work for me. Sorry, it just really doesn't. If you play as well, fair enough. Hey, you big yourself up and you actually play well, so then fair enough. So all the credit to you. But if you big yourself up and then play shit, then that's not it. But Kai, unfortunately, was equally as shit as the other two because, like, sorry, what was he doing all day? I mean, yeah, he got the tap in from Timo, which was in the end offside anyway. But he was bad as well, I thought. Am I the only one with that, Clutch? Did you think he was bad? I think it was pretty bad.
I thought he was pretty bad today. He wasn't the same Kai Havertz that we normally see. He wasn't doing the whole roaming thing. It seemed like he stayed on the left, and that's where he was pretty much at, unless Timo was running down the left. Then he kind of went more middle. He didn't do the roaming thing that makes Kai Havertz so good right now. And I think the funny thing is, I mean, I've seen a lot in the chat where they're like, oh, we just need to sell Kai. He's been poor the last 5 games. It's like, do we forget last game? He was fantastic until he came off. It's just, I think we suffer from this goldfish brain mentality here where Lukaku, like, the thing with Havertz is, I think it's very harsh because I think Kai Havertz's best position is a lone 9 with 2 10s behind him. So he has the position to roam. He can come back and get that link-up play. I think that is where he is very good at. And unfortunately, we got to put Lukaku in there too because Kai Havertz doesn't score as many goals as Lukaku will. So the natural thing is we're going to put Lukaku, or we're going to put him up there with the Lukaku, and hopefully that works, or a Werner, and hopefully that works. I'd probably go a 5, unfortunately, just to be a little bit better than Lukaku and Werner, but...
VJ, 5 for you? Too high, too low? What do you make of Kai Havertz's second half performance?
I think for Kai Havertz, I'm going to go with a 5. First thing that we have to understand is also the situation that he was deployed in. I mean, he came in the second half. First, I already told you, right? The first half, the goal was to score goals as much as possible, and keep doubling the tally. But the second half was more of containment. Just had to maintain ball position. Whenever we had a chance, we probably move on and attack. Not all the players were instructed the same way on moving forward. Not everyone wanted to contribute on the attack or were asked to contribute to the attack from our manager as well. So we basically took our legs off the pedal. So if a player comes in that 45 minutes, we cannot judge him as equally as that of Lukaku, because we've already basically won the match in the first half. So I think a 5 would be fair enough, because whenever he got that opportunity, he did not really do anything with it as well. So maybe a 5 is what I'd say. I probably agree with Clutch's score on 5, but there is a difference between what Lukaku should have done today and Kai Havertz should have done today, because they both played in an entirely different situation.
And also, one of them has a broken finger. So, Lukaku has nothing to excuse himself. I'm taking a piss at this point. Yeah, I might have gone 4.5, but that leaves it at the 5. I will also say it's my Ruben bias that kind of annoyed me extra about Kai, because Ruben could have had an assist if Kai just controlled the ball well. So, I do admit that. So, hey, let's leave it at the 5, even though, to be fair, a lot of people in the chat said he wasn't any better than than the two other strikers, I suppose, which is kind of fair. Who were the other subs? Who came on?
Vale.
Vale came on for Christensen, did he not?
Pulisic.
So who came on for Christensen? Oh, Baker.
Baker.
There you go.
Also, for the guy who's saying, like, we were talking about how the offense looks much better with Kai Havertz before the Lukaku injury. We kept saying that because it does. So, yes, you could say he doesn't score as many goals, but when everybody else around you looks better, that's not... Lukaku wasn't scoring goals, and no one else looked better with him. That's the big difference. So, to say 2 headers isn't enough, sure, goal output-wise, but when you look better and Lukaku isn't scoring either, there is a difference.
I'm not even sure if we look better anymore with Kai, because Kai's form isn't that good right now. But at the time, it was still true. That doesn't mean it will forever be true. That's just quite how football works. Nothing's forever the same.
Yeah, but he said, I don't remember exactly what he said. He said something about
was it global,
Havertz being young. Yeah, Havertz being young and he's been trash for a long time. And it's like, that's not exactly true.
And if I may add one thing with respect to Lukaku that I've been finding it very hard to understand, or probably I'll pose this as a question to the panel as well. What happens with Lukaku's gameplay is that whenever he starts going into the 30-yard box, he automatically turns to our side, like to the Chelsea side, and starts passing the ball towards or laying it off to other strikers, which will not allow you to get goals. I mean, you probably have to face the goal and then start scoring goals. That is when you can probably be a 20 goal scorer or a 15 goal scorer in Premier League. At least that might have worked in Inter Milan. It's not going to definitely work in Premier League if you keep laying it off to one or the other, because what Tammy Abraham does better than Lukaku is that he doesn't lay it off. He basically faces the goal and then tries to score goals, right? I'm not comparing.
Even when he gets it with his back to goal, by the way, Tammy tries to turn and shoot.
Yeah, he tries to turn and
Tammy
shoot
is
because he's got that agility. He's got that agility to do that. But Lukaku is too slow to turn and shoot. He has to basically...
I think Lukaku... Sorry to interrupt you, Vijay. I think Lukaku could do that. He just, for some odd reason, chooses not to do it, which is another thing I don't understand.
Exactly. That's exactly what I wanted to ask. Why not, use your sheer physical strength to turn back and then shoot, because your left foot is that powerful and it can be devastating.
And also he's a £100 million striker, so he should be able to do it on his right foot as well.
Yeah, that is expected. Again, when we talk about 100 million, then probably we'll probably get the same comments from our fans as well when they say, you know what, you shouldn't judge the player based on the financial value. So I'm not even getting into the financial side of things, but then you should be able to at least go from your left foot. For that, you have to basically turn, not every single time lay it off for Mount or a Havertz and expect them to finish.
Yeah. And if you look at all the goals Inter scored under Conte that Lukaku scored, he was a mostly counter-attacking striker.
Yeah.
Like, it was always the space behind. That's what him and Martinez exploited consistently. We have a counter-attacking striker. His name is Timo Werner. So... But I think the difference is, I think Lukaku has the skill set, and it's not like he's always been a counter-attacking striker. That's the problem.
Well, he
can play multiple dimensions.
No one else saw that other than him.
Exactly, and I think he's trying to get used to that. But at the same time, you're still. I think you have the ability to do it. Why you're not doing all those things? Because if you can't do that, like we said, why get rid of Giroud? Why get rid of Abraham? Abraham has had 15 goals. I think he had 15 goals his first season. What? 8? Not no,
12 or something, I guess.
Yeah, but anyhow, I mean, it's seeming like selling Tammy was a bigger mistake than buying Lukaku was at this moment in time.
I'm not even sure if that's what I tried to say, because Tammy has had good spells at Roma, but the teams he scored against was like in the Conference League and, some less oppositions. I know he got a goal the other day against
AC Milan, but he also gave up the penalty. And it was a back heel, so it was actually a very good good goal. But
what? He basically deflected the goal. Did he not? There was just a shot from distance. He deflected it.
I thought he back heeled it in.
Oh, did he? If he did, fair play. I thought it was his knee or something. But still, and I'm no criticism towards him. Obviously, big up Tammy, and I hope he does incredibly well out in Italy. But what I'm saying is the problem isn't like no one said that Tammy was good enough. Like that's not. Maybe he was, but maybe he wasn't. Hey, that's a different debate. The problem is when you pay a lot of money for someone to replace him, you expect him to be better. And has so far Lukaku been better than Tammy? No. Will he be if he stays long enough? Let's see if he stays over the summer. Yeah, he will be. But we didn't pay 100 million for him to be good next year. That's what I kept saying about Timo last season. We didn't pay 50, 60 million for him to be good next year. With Kai, that's different. Kai's young. Timo came at 24. That's not super young anymore. Timo's 25 now. That's different. It's very different. And let's quickly move on. And actually do quickly want to react to where was the comment? Unpopular opinion. Pulli, Ziyech, Kai, and even Werner are not comfortable and at their best because Tuchel rotates them too much, which means no competition to fight for starting spot and average performances. Now, while I see what you're saying, I see a lot of people agree with you. The problem we have is that we play too many bloody games. Because if you give someone 5 games in a row, that means 2 of them are in a random FA Cup game, in a League Cup game, and in the Champions League game against Malmo. So would you rather have those 5 games, or would you rather have 5 games where it matters and 5 Premier League games? I'm not saying they all get that, but I'm saying that's the problem. We play so much. In Conte's season, when we won the league and didn't have any European football, of course, the same players played every game because we had a week off between every game. That's not the same situation. And then when you do it, like Klopp does, that's when you have a season like they did last year. And I guess to some extent we're having this year where everyone's just injured. But, Liverpool had a much lesser squad to compensate for it. And we were hit much worse with much smaller injuries, less big ones. But still, I get what you're saying. And I think to some extent you have a good point, Tom. But I think part of the problem is still also that we play so many games and no one can play every game. That's impossible. No one can. Nothing's going to change. Back to players with a clean mind. I back players that don't give interviews, or not silly interviews anyway, because I back players that back us as fans, not the back into fans. I recently didn't want to make this such a big deal on such a long stream again, but let me just quickly say it. I recently saw an interview with Cesc Fabregas when he played Chelsea against Arsenal, when he came back, or when he joined us, early on when he joined us. And he gave literally the perfect interview. He was like, yeah, I understand, it's not ideal. I know they love me, which is why they're so unhappy that I'm here, which makes sense. And they gave me everything. Always will respect Arsenal, always have a big place in my heart. But now I'm at this great club with great players and great fans, and I'm going to try to achieve everything I can. That's how you speak when you want to not slag off your old club, but still be full of praise for your new club. Not say, no, the striker that makes me great. No, stay there, I'll be back. Oh, Conte, yeah, he's amazing. Amazing. Brilliant he is. And Inter, by the way, they're amazing. Amazing. The sport directors, the nutritionists, the sports scientists, they're all the best in the world. Do you know what I mean? Not a single good word was lost about Chelsea in the whole interview. Not a single one. I'm just saying. Anyway, let's move on to actual player ratings, because there's only a few to be done anyway. When did who come on? Well, we already did the 2 halftime subs. Then it was Vale and Baker. Let's do Harvey Vale. I can't lie. I didn't think he was very good, if I'm being perfectly honest today, unfortunately. I'm not saying it was bad, but I think I'll go along with the 6 that Pulisic got, to be honest. Clutch, would you agree?
Yeah, I think, he was playing that right wing back spot, so, I don't really blame him too much for a lot of things. Unfortunately, he didn't get higher up the pitch where we seen him being more effective, as maybe probably should have come on for like a Werner or Lukaku, but, didn't happen that way. So, unfortunately, I had to go with the 6 for him.
At the same time, for the under-21s, he has played left wing back a lot. It's the wrong side still, but he has played in his, even if on the other side, that role in terms of height on the pitch type thing. But
I did think he had one really nice pass, because I think he cleared it, and it got to Kai, and I think Kai had lost the ball or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I remember it. There you go. That was a good ball, to be fair to him. But VJ, do you think 6? Obviously, that's why I put the rating next, the star next to it, because now we've come into what you mentioned earlier. How do we compare? Basically, just don't compare it to the other ratings that the players that played 45 or more got, because it's kind of different when you only get like 25 minutes.
No, I get it. Now, yeah, he gets a 6. Obviously, didn't have to do a lot, but then he of course played in a different position, and the wing that he was playing in also had Lewis Baker playing next to him or behind him, which did not really help his cause either. So I think that wing was so inexperienced in the last 10-15 minutes, and we weren't able to see anything that was moving further up the pitch because there was too much lack of experience in that side of the pitch. And I think part of Wales inefficiency today should also be attributed to how Baker performed today. I don't think so he was good either, but let's get to I'll talk about that when we get to Baker. But Wales gets a 6. Yeah, fair enough.
Fair dues. Let's get to Lewis Baker. Interesting stat. It was the second time in his career that he's made the Chelsea squad, also his second appearance. And his last appearance was 8 years ago. What a guy. I mean, I feel bad for him because he should have had a better career than he did. Just things didn't quite go his way. A bit like for Josh McEachran, who I think is in League One somewhere now, or the Championship. Both super, super talented players. No less talented than I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but to what I'm aware of. No, like super less talented than a Lewis Hall or a Harvey Vale or some other players that, maybe not at Chelsea, but play in the Premier League. But Lewis Baker and Josh McEachran, unfortunately, didn't quite make it in those directions. But, I mean, he's, of course, a centre-mid, not a centre-back. And if he is a centre-back, he should play central centre-back. But today he played right centre-back, half right-back, which didn't quite work. And he didn't look ideal for the goal along with Sarr. Was it great? No. I'm going to say 5.5. I'm going to not be too harsh, but he was worse than Vale, I thought. But big ups to him for getting himself another appearance. So fair play to him. VJ, 5.5 too low for you, too high for you? What do you reckon?
Too high for me. If I'm to be honest, I'll probably give him a 3.5 or something.
3.5?
Maybe a 3 even. Because, I mean, to be honest with you, not really a great performance for Baker. He slipped a couple of times. Every pass that he made mostly was behind. And you could still attribute to that of, we are trying to maintain position. There was no rush for us to go on the attack or, be on the attacking front. But I think most of his passes were more defense oriented and being very safe, and he didn't have a lot of defending as well to do, and he had that space to actually pass and forward, but he chose to pass behind, which kind of slowed down the game, is what I felt. So I'd probably go for a 2.5. If that is a bit harsh, then probably 3.
Fair. So where do we sit? 4?
He's 26 years old.
It is true he's 26 years old, but it's also the first bit of football he's played all season. So
I'm going to give a 6. I'm going to give it 2.5, and if you want to average it out, that's fine.
Oh, that's what I'm doing anyway. So that's why we've come to a 4 from you, 3, now 2.5, and we might 5.5. Let's see what Clutch says. But no, hey, PG, I'm not saying you're wrong. All good. So Clutch, how do you see it?
I think his passing was pretty bad from the back today. He had a lot of passes that just went sailing over the top for no reason, kind of slowed play down, stopped play. That goal was really bad. He got caught out positionally, and Sarr tried to bail him out and couldn't. 4.5. I want to go 4.5.
Fair enough.
I'll make you do some math here on a Saturday afternoon.
I'll give VJ the 4 anyway, because he kind of went from 3 to 2.5. So we'll leave it at the 4. And just before we finish off on Barkley, just quickly, but I have no problem with you, Global, by the way. Hope you don't think I do. Have you ever done wrong in life? Yes, I have. But when I haven't been forced to do an apology, to actually do an apology. If I did wrong, I realized I did wrong, and I tried to make up for it as well as I could, and apologize for it. Lukaku doesn't look like he's trying to make up for it. He didn't look like he wanted to give an apology. And he, even in his apology, essentially said, oh, the timing was wrong, not what I said. Essentially, is what he said. I mean, hey.
He also said he didn't understand that why we were mad.
Yeah, I mean, those were more reports, which theoretically could be wrong, but chances are they're not. So, Global, yes, I have done wrong, but then I actually tried to make up for it on Lukaku. But Ross Barkley, I mean, we've had 1-0 from Pice. I'll let you go last, Clutch. So I'll let you go next, BJ. Is 0 a bit too hard for you, or would you go along with it?
Barkley 0 kind of, it's a bit harsh. First thing, he should know his levels if he's not selected for the squad today. That in itself will tell what is his position in this team. He should probably realize that in Thomas Tuchel's system. But the minutes that he came on really did not look any sharper. I mean, he should have been that senior player in the front three, because when he came in, it was all youngsters around him, and they expected that sort of a senior leadership from Barkley, but he did not have any of those. And a lot of skiers. He just shot to the sky. I don't know what he was trying to do. Probably, shoot at everyone at the Matthew Harding end. But that's exactly what he was doing. And for me, it's a 2, not a 0. Maybe 1 or 2. I'll go with 1 then.
You go with 1 then. Okay, then we'll do 0.5 for now. I still think we should just ask Everton, how about you have Barkley back for free, and then you give us Digne on a loan? But you can't have Barkley for free, though. Like, just offer him, like a gift. Like, I mean, their fans probably don't want him back because they hate him because he came to us. But
even if you give him for free, who'll pay their wages? His wages.
I mean, he's still, at least he's not a nonce like a certain other Everton player, so he has that going for him. Do I go next? See, we'll talk very differently if his one shot is like this far further left, then we talk about a goal that's nearly as good as Kovacic's goal against Liverpool, and then we're talking very different. So, do I honestly think Barkley was worse than Timo Werner and Lukaku? No, honestly, I don't think he was. Do I think it was good? No, but those two sit on a 4 up there. So I'm not sure if I might have gone 4, I might have gone 3, but hey, does that mean I don't think it was bad? No, but is he worse than Lukaku and Werner? Not sure, really, to be honest. I mean, I know Lukaku and Werner scored, so that's why lower. But he obviously only played like 10 minutes or 15, whatever it was. I don't want to go 3 here. Sorry, that was my 3. So we had a 1.5 so far. But Clutch, you can't take it back down. Is it another 0 for you, or where do you sit on Ross Barkley?
I think it's. I think we should ask Charlie if he caught the ball that Barkley shot into the Matthew Harding, because I know he was there. So we should ask him if he got it. But no, I'd go for a 0. I mean, the guy's terrible. In 10 minutes, you managed to mess up that much stuff. I mean, fair play to him. He's had a couple good moments this year. That ball to Aspie was absolutely insane. I'll still give him credit for that. But you're not doing it consistently enough. You play for Chelsea. You're 27, 26, whatever you are. I don't even know anymore. I don't care. You look like Vin Diesel running around. I can't be bothered with him. I don't like him as a player. I think he's terrible. He's not better than Pulisic, but we can tell that. Yeah, send him to Everton for free. I don't care. I don't want him to be here. 0.
Fair.
I don't want Thomas Tuchel to choose him over Vale ever again.
No, I agree with that. And that's the last thing we're going to do quickly. Just the rating for Thomas Tuchel before we're going to finish this off here. Where do we put that? Don't know, so because it fits here. Thomas Tuchel. I'll give him a 7 because we won 5-1. It's not his fault that we didn't score more, but I think we should have started more youngsters, and I think definitely Webster and or Simmons should have come over Barkley. Hence why I'm not giving him a 10, but obviously no big deal. Big up Tuchel. We all love him. BJ, 7 for you, fair? Or does the not playing as many youngsters as you would have liked not really affect your rating so much?
It wouldn't. I mean, I'd give him an 8.5, especially. The reason why I say that is because for me, he got everything right tactically. It was a 5-1, and we achieved that score, like 4 of them in the first half itself. He wanted the game to be completed in 45 minutes, everything clinical. That was done. And the second half, he was probably expecting them to hold on to possession and probably, not go a bit aggressive because they have other matches to handle as well. So maybe that's the reason why they held back. That could also be, that could probably be a Thomas Tuchel's tactics as well. So, I cannot really rate. I understand 4 in the first half, it should have translated into 8 in the second half. But then how much of your energy are you conserving by playing a possession-based football in the second half? That really comes into the equation. I think that was a decision that was taken by Thomas Tuchel for the welfare of the players, and I completely respect that. Apart from that, one thing I liked about Tuchel was that he respected Chesterfield. He put in a squad which was, really good. Again, all these Chesterfield fans coming into the stadium, Stamford Bridge, they wouldn't like to see someone like Harvey Vale playing the entire 90 minutes and other academy players playing the entire 90 minutes, right? Though it's a bit of disrespect.
But bro, we gave Lewis Hall man of the match, and he's an academy player.
Yeah, he is an academy player. I'm just saying that these fans come into the stadium just to watch their stars play the games, right? So when you put everyone as academy player, it kind of, first thing is it's a disappointment for the fans who've traveled this far, and also I felt that's also a bit of disrespect to Chesterfield. So I think what Thomas Tuchel did today was respect the opponent and probably put in a combination of youth and senior players, which I kind of liked about it. So I'm going to go for an 8.5, Thomas Tuchel.
Fair dues. I mean, I don't really see where you see the mix of youth, because there was just one youth player in the starting 11. But fair enough. One thing I did want to add, it just seemed like Tuchel did a bit of something that Klopp and Pep have done a number of times. They always complain about not 5 subs, and then when they have 5 subs to Chelsea, they make 2. Not today, but for the last 2 weeks, he kept going, Kovacic can't play it, but I have to. And then he has a chance to rest him when he starts him. I'm like, well, then you can't talk about overplaying him 2 weeks ago when you have a chance to not overplay him, but then you overplay him again. So that is why I don't get it. I'm like, because he was the guy that complained about it 2 weeks ago, and totally justifiably, by the way, did he complain about it. But then I just don't get why he started today. And Pulisic and Callum, fair enough. But hey, I think Vale could have started instead of one of them. Again, I'm not saying start 11 youngsters. I mean, I would have liked that, but I get why not. But 2 or 3 could have been. But Pice, I said 7. Not Pice, Clutch. I said 7. We just said 8.5. Where do you sit on it?
I'd probably agree with the 7. I don't understand why we played the strength that we have. This is a prime opportunity to rest players before your big games like City, Spurs second leg. I think we got Arsenal after that. I think, if I remember correctly, I'm not sure it's Arsenal or somebody else. I know it's somebody big's coming up here, other than City. But we got big games coming up. We need the rest of some of these players. Good thing Mason Mount got his games rest, but I think we probably should have rested more, like a Kovacic, maybe, even though I thought Lukaku would start, maybe rest him, give Simmons a chance at the right wing back to kind of like see if we can give him an option. Because, I mean, at this point, I'm desperately asking somebody else other than Pulisic or Ziyech to be playing right wing back. I'm even like, hey, if Des brings that, maybe bring him in. Like, I need somebody who is not going to be terrible. I shouldn't say terrible, but a more right wing back option. So that's where I'm at. I think we probably could have rotated a little bit. But Lewis Hall was absolutely insane today. So that's on Thomas Tuchel again. Masterclass. Sarr's getting better. Masterclass. So I think there's positives and negatives here. We probably took Chesterfield way too seriously when we could have just played a whole bunch. We should have just played more academy players, get them around the first team. That way they could have a little bit more of an understanding of how a Chelsea game day goes, and that way it would have been a little bit more of an experience for them.
Yeah, it would have been. And just to react to this comment by Johnny here quickly, yes, City did, but let's not ignore that City are not in the League Cup semi-final, meaning they had last midweek off and have next midweek off, which is, so obviously for them, completely different scenario. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to round it. I think this was, again, a much longer stream than I intended. I told Pies I'm going to keep it short, but then Pies left anyway, so I was like, fair enough. But here we are, too much ranting about Lukaku, I guess. That's what you get when you players do interviews. No, I need to stop. Partly I'm always joking, partly I'm not, but, it's like I'm caught in between. But yeah, we're going to round it out here, ladies and gentlemen. Still, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe, smash the like button for me. Check out VJ's channel called SportsWire. The link is down in the description. Check out Clutch on Twitter. And yeah, again, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, upwards and onwards. And we'll see you next time.